Alright, good afternoon everyone and welcome to my presentation. My name is Kyle Culpepper and I am the Instructional Technology Associate with Media Center. So if you have any questions or any concerns, guess what? You can come see me. Alright, so let's go ahead and dig into this. Well, we're going to talk about a wonderful topic called copyright. I'm sure any one of you have probably heard about this, especially if you come to the Media Center and you want to, let's say, take an image off of Google, or you want to download that YouTube video and utilize it in your presentation. Yeah, I gotta be careful with that. So let's kind of go over some of the facts. Before I do, here's a little disclaimer. Please be aware of this. This is for informational purposes only. Fair use is a complicated and fact-specific analysis. For any legal questions, consult a licensed attorney. All right, so let's continue on. So what is copyright? Copyright is a law. It provides protection to the original works and their owners. This includes published and unpublished works. Yes, even the works that don't go to copyright houses, those works are still considered copywritten. So what exactly would be an unpublished work that can be still considered copywritten? Well, there's 3 requirements to be considered copywritten. And this is great news for you. So if you were to be a creative designer of anything, it doesn't matter what it is, so long as it falls into these 3 categories and holds all 3 true, it has to be your original work. Originality is a major part of it, created by you, the author. It has to be creative. So it has some type of creativity. Your final product is your own version and ingenuity. So you're the one that designed the idea and put it down on paper or put it on video or whatever it may be. And that goes to the next part, fixation, which I just described. It has to be something that's audible, something that's read, something that's heard, seen. Any of those has to be done by some means or aid of a machine. So all these things kind of meld together to develop your copyright protection. All right, so what exactly would be something that kind of falls under those categories? Of course, that would be music. So if you created music sheets, that falls under it. If you recorded yourself singing, that falls under it. If you made a movie, if you wrote a book, if you're designing some type of artwork using Photoshop, or if you're using Illustrator, or maybe if you're doing something on a canvas, all those things, that falls under what is protected. What exactly would be considered unprotected work? Well, that's something that's expired. Let's say something that was developed before the 30s. That's unprotected. So you could utilize something that you heard or seen online that happens to be, let's say, a material that's really, really old. Or maybe you found it in the library and it is before the 30s, before the 29s, before that time period. That's safe to use. Works produced by federal employees for their institution. So this is actually an example. I'm developing this for my institution for VSU. Explicitly donated public domain work. So what exactly would be something that would fall under this? Something that goes on, let's say, Creative Commons, if you've heard of that. That is an example of something that's explicitly shared and on public domain. That's okay. But if you use something such as LimeWire or FrostWire or any peer-to-peer file sharing, steer away from that. Don't use that. That's probably copyrighted material that is posted up there. And yes, you can get in real big trouble with that. So kind of differentiate the two. Public domain does not mean peer-to-peer file sharing. That's something that the author or the copyright holder intended to put up for everyone else to utilize for whatever reason. It's also non-recorded works. So anything that's not audible, that's not seen and not recorded in any manner, that is unprotected. That includes probably ideals, procedures, methods, systems, processes, concepts, principles. So F equals MA is a scientific law. That's not copywritten material. That's just fact. Standard calendars, height, weight charts, those are not, because that's standard. That's something that's accepted throughout. That's just, you can add it wherever you want. So of course you can't really have a copyright owner over it. All right, so when you do run into that issue where it's like something's copywritten and you need to use it for whatever you're doing, well, you need to verify that you can actually use it. How do you do this? Well, you request permission. And if you're going to do any work here in the Media Center that is copywritten, and you're using it in your own work, you need to have copywritten permission. And that needs to be written permission, maybe email or something that is emailed off to you. That needs to be what's done. First, will you need permission? Are you taking the author's expression? So is this something that the author intended to express? Or is this work protected by copyright? Is this on public domain? And are you in bound of fair use? And I'm about to go into fair use a little bit in just a moment. But if none of these these bullets are covered, then no, you have to follow and contact the copyright holder in order to utilize it, especially here at the Media Center. If yes, again, request permission. Okay, so what exactly is fair use? You just heard me mention this, and it's an interesting topic because it's really a big challenge to try to see what exactly is exactly what it says, fair. What's fair for the public to use, and what's fair for the copyright owner to maintain and control. And so we have this system that we have to keep in balance. So to keep it fair for both sides, the public domain and also for the people who have copyright ownership over something, you have to kind of fall into these 4 factors. Is this use for commercial or educational purposes? More than likely, if it's either of those, that obviously weighs in. If it's for educational, then yeah, that could go into it. If you're trying to resell a product and you're using this, then there might be an issue of it falling under fair use. Is the amount and sustainability or substantiality of the work large, or is it a small amount of the proportion of what they have available in that copywritten work? So I'll go over kind of the amounts and substantiality of the work in just a moment. But if you can think about it, of course, if you use less, then that more or less molds into fair use. Effect on the marketability. Is this going to reduce the ability for something to be resold? If it does, then that does not fall under fair use. Nature of copywritten work. Is this something for more of a factual purpose, or is this something expressive? So of course, if it's more factual, then that's good. You got to be careful with this. It doesn't have a complete yes or no. That's why we have to consider all 4 factors. So you might not have one completely up to par with fair use, but if you have most of them, like all 3 or 4, then you're good. Let's go a little bit more into the proportionality, because this is something that a lot of people need to understand. And this is something that you can kind of gear when you're creating a video or taking music. A lot of the time, when you're pulling that data, you need to make sure it's around 10% or less. And sometimes it could be, let's say you have a 6-hour long video that you're doing. All right, so if it's motion media, example of a video, and you decide, well, I'm going to use 10% of this 6-hour long video, then that doesn't fall, because it probably would be best if you actually use 3 minutes of that. So as you can follow along with this allowable portion for fair use, you can see up to 10% or 3 minutes, whichever is less. Now, the same thing goes for different material. You can follow along with this chart to more or less have a better understanding of what is safe to use. More or less, this covers what I'm going to go over. There's a lovely person who you can talk to a little bit more about copywritten information, and his name is Carrier Howard. He is one of our reference librarians here at Odom Library, and if you need to reach him, you can reach him at 229-245-3744, or you can email him at hscarrier@valdosta.edu. You can also email us at media@valdosta.edu. Again, that is media@valdosta.edu if you have any questions in regards to copyright laws. We'll gladly work with you the best we can. Again, we're not licensed attorneys, so those probably would be the best people to reach out to if you really have a really tough question about copyright laws. And if you ever are curious about our website, you can go to the Media Center's website, Media Center. I'll just type it in the search bar, hit enter, and there we are, Media Center. And here, welcome to the website. You can scroll down and go to the workshop schedule at the bottom underneath related resources. Click on this link and you'll be sent to our web page that's still under development and still be developing as I'm going. And you'll be able to go to the workshop handouts and video tutorials. In here, you'll probably see this video amongst other workshop information that would be very helpful and handy to you. So if you're ever curious about other information that you might want to know about, welcome to the website. Check us out. And if you need to, email us at media@valdosta.edu. We'll get back with you. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching.